All right, everybody, welcome back to Sports Chat, I believe episode 7. And as always, joined with Ryan, Jordan. And today, all we're going to be talking about are the NBA playoffs. So, what we're going to be doing is going over first round matchups and then having some debates on our NBA awards. So, first game you guys want to talk about? Let's go. Let's go the biggest mismatch of the first round so far. It seems like Sixers Raptors. So Sixers Embiid's overtime game winner yesterday to take game 3. Sixers up 3-0. I got them winning in 4. I got them sweeping the Raptors. But the Raptors definitely could take one back in Toronto. That was a very close game. So that's my personal take. I think Tyrese Maxey is the big difference maker in that game. Embiid's been playing tremendously. Obviously, he's an MVP candidate. So I've got Sixers in 4.
Joel Embiid finally gets his revenge he's been hoping for against the Raptors. Overtime game winner. Sixers go up three games to nothing. I think the biggest key in this matchup is Tyrese Maxey. He got 38 points game 1, 23 in game 2, and 19 in game 3. Embiid and Harden are looking like a pretty good duo so far. So let's see if we can keep it. They can keep it up. And I feel like the Raptors will get one game back eventually. So I have the Sixers winning in 5.
I also have Sixers winning in 5. I think the Raptors, well, they're going to have to win the next game if they want to make it in 5. I think they're going to have enough in them to win the one game, and then 76ers are going to come back roaring in that final game, in the 5th game, and just completely destroy them. But like Jordan was saying, Tyrese Maxey has been going off in this series, which is a huge plus for them. James Harden and Joel Embiid also doing their thing like they do every game pretty much. I think the reason they're doing so well is because they have that base defense, because like last year they were one of the best defensive teams in the league, I'm quite certain. And yeah, because Thibault, I think, did he win defensive player of the year? No, he was one of the finalists.
He was Canada.
Yeah, he was one of the finalists. But well, with that and their new offense with James Harden, as well as the return of Joel Embiid this year, they're going off. And I mean, the Raptors are good. They got Pascal Siakam. He's an amazing player. And Scotty Barnes, he's been going off this year. He's a rookie. We'll talk about that later. Well, maybe we'll get into it. We'll see. And then Fred VanVleet, of course, who has also been going off. And OG Anunoby. I don't know how to pronounce it.
Anunoby. Yeah, this is close enough.
OG. We'll go with that.
Yeah, just call him the OG.
But the Raptors, they're a great team, but they're not coming back in this series. I'm sorry.
The Raptors are a decent team, but they're not a great team like the Sixers. Fred VanVleet, the Walmart version of Drake, he, in my opinion, is the best player on that team. Pascal Siakam really brings a defensive presence on the team. I just see them not winning 2 games, only winning 1 game, maybe even getting swept. We'll see.
I don't know. I think VanVleet is the best offensive player in the game, but I don't think the best overall. I think Siakam is winning that category.
Yeah, we'll see, though. It's just a bad matchup for the Raptors, and that's why I have Philly sweeping. I think the Raptors' hopes are kind of done. Like, once a team goes down 3-0, it's really just desperation, trying not to get swept. So that's why they might win in 5. That's why the Raptors might take next game, but I don't see them taking more than 1 game. Like, I think they're just done after this. So now let's go. That was a 4-5 matchup in the East. Now let's go 1-8. Let's go Miami Heat, Atlanta Hawks. Now this one, I've got Heat in 5. I think there's going to be 1 game where Trae Young just goes absolutely off, torches the Heat, carries them to a victory, but I just don't see them winning more than 1 game. It's kind of like the same thing. It's a bad matchup. Plus, Duncan Robinson's been going off. Tyler Hero, 6th Man of the Year finalist, and I think he's winning. We'll talk about it later, but definitely 6th Man of the Year finalist. And like Jimmy Butler dropped 40 something. I think it was like 45 points.
He scored 45.
45, yeah, 45. It's absolutely insane. So I think it's a bad matchup. The Heat are going to win this one. It was expected 1 versus 8, but I do have Heat winning this one in 5.
The reason the Heat are up 2-0 is all on Trae Young. Trae Young has not been the player with the most points on his team in the first 2 games. I can see him going off and torching the Heat and winning 1 game, but the Heat are a much more complete team than the Hawks are. They have the Coach of the Year candidate, 6th Man of the Year candidate, who in my opinion should win. Tyler Hero is a beast coming off the bench. They're just more of a complete team. You got players like Daniel Gallinari, Duncan Robinson, Jimmy Butler, 21 points, 45 points, game 1 and 2. They just got a much more complete team, and I don't see the Hawks winning more than 2 games. Definitely not winning the series.
I think Bam's tough for Clint Capella too. Bam Adebayo,
Mhm.
really good
Yes,
center.
he is so. I would say underrated because he's just everyone talks about Jimmy Butler really with Miami Heat, but Bam is amazing. Bam, Mr. Slam. But no, I agree with you guys, and I will also say in 5 because I think the Hawks, they always have something up their sleeve. They made that run last year, and they have pretty much the exact same roster except for Cam Reddish, who is now with the Knicks, which I like that as a Knicks fan. But I think Trae Young will go off for like 40 points maybe in a game, and they're gonna win one, but they're not gonna be able to beat the Heat. The Heat are so good. Jimmy Butler, of course, and Bam, like we've talked about, and like Tyler Hero, potential 6th man of the year. The Heat are not going to be beat, and especially not in this first series. We'll have to see with the rest of the playoffs, but I'm favoring the Heat a lot in these playoffs.
So going back to Trae Young not scoring the most points on his team, Daniel Gallinari had 17 game 1, and Trae Young had 8 game 1. 8 points in game 1. Definitely needs to produce more than that. In game 2, Trae Young only scored 25, and Bogdanovich
yeah.
Bogdanovich scored 29 points in game 2.
Mm.
So that just shows how the players on the Hawks have scored more than Trae Young and produced more. So if the Hawks want to win one game, they need a lot more from Trae Young.
Yeah, and you see, like, last game was a lot closer than game 1, and it's because Trae Young went from 8 to 25 and shot a lot better. I think game 1 he shot like 1 for 17 or something terrible, and like 0 for 10 from 3. He really got shut down. But yeah, I think Heat in 5 seems to be the consensus. Heat in 4. Does anyone have them sweeping, or you all got Heat in 5?
I say they're gonna sweep.
Think they're
You're
gonna
gonna sweep? I'll say Heat in 5.
Okay,
Yeah.
I'll say Heat in 5 too. It's gonna be a Heat victory no matter what. Now, let's move on to the 3-6 matchup in the East. Now, I got to take my Bucks bias out of here. It's the Bucks versus the Bulls. And after watching last night, I will humbly say Bucks in 6. I think the Bucks just have way more experience than the Bulls, but I mean, Chicago's a really talented team. Like DeMar DeRozan went off yesterday. He dropped 41, I believe.
Yeah.
Zach LaVine too. Caruso's really stepped up. So I think the Bulls have a really talented team. But in the playoffs, it's gonna be like a 6-7 game series probably. And I just think the Bucks, defending champions, I think they'll have the legs and they'll have the experience to beat out the Bulls. And but I do see Chicago taking one more game at home. I don't see them taking one back in Pfizer in Milwaukee, but I see them taking one more game. So I'll humbly say Bucks in 6.
I would have to agree with you with Bucks in 6. And the only reason the Bucks are going to win the series is number 1, Giannis Antetokounmpo. He has been in this position before. He knows how to win. The Bucks have the chemistry. They have the experience. That's the number 1 reason why they're going to win the series. But like what you said, DeRozan was the 3rd Bulls player in history with a 40-point game in the playoffs. He dropped 40 points in game 2. That's why I can see them winning 2 games at least. They have Alex Caruso, like you mentioned, Zach LaVine, DeMar DeRozan. They're a good team. They're just not as great as the Bucks. So I can see them going and just increasing their skill level for next year. But this was a great improvement for the Bulls, but they're not going to beat the Bucks.
See, at the beginning of this series and before it started, I would have picked Bucks in 5. But last night we had Chris Middleton go down. Last night? Was that last night?
Yeah.
Yes, last night. Chris Middleton, we don't know what's going to happen with him. They said it's an MCL sprain, but they do not have a timetable. They're doing an MRI today, but they are not sure of when he's going to be able to come back, if he'll be able to come back in these playoffs. They really have no idea how serious it is. So because of that injury, I'm going to guess that Chris Middleton will not be there for the next game and probably not the game after that. So I'm going to pick Bucks in 7 just because of that. It's going to take them one more game to win, but it's going to be a lot closer because without Chris Middleton, their scoring is not going to come as easily. And although they have Giannis and everything, they're not going to have that great 3-point shooter or mid-range or really any shot at all any shot from Chris Middleton because he's not going to be there. But the Bulls, are also without Lonzo. They're not going to be with him for the rest of the year. He got injured before the playoffs started. But I think the X factor for the Bucks winning is Giannis, like Jordan said, is Giannis not being able to be covered by Vucevic. Like Giannis is just too powerful. Like from 3-point, he's okay, but he's getting better, taking good shots, I guess, from out there. But when he's driving, there's nothing that Vucevic can do to stop him, or really anyone on the Bulls to stop him. So the Bulls, beginning of the year with Lonzo and everyone super healthy, I think could have taken this series, but they've kind of been not in a rut, but a little bit of a rut in the second half of this season. And with these injuries, to like Lonzo and Chris Middleton, I think it's just going to even out into Game 7 win for the Bucks.
Yeah. So I'll still go Bucks in 6. I mean, I gotta be biased. I think last game, like obviously I know a lot about the Bucks. But last game was I think it was the third most turnovers they've had in the past 2 playoffs combined. Or in general, it was the third most turnovers they had. Drew Holiday did not play well at all. And that's the big X factor for me. I think that was the big X factor last year, replacing Eric Bledsoe with him, and that's why we won the championship. So now it's all a matter of how Drew Holiday does. I think Giannis is going to be Giannis. He's been Giannis all year. It's why he's arguably the best player in the NBA, year in and year out at this point. But I think Drew Holiday's really got to step up, and especially if Middleton's out, that's what. And if you remember last year against the Hawks, Giannis was out a game, and Middleton really had to step up, and Drew really had to step up, and everyone picked Hawks to win that. And they won. The Bucks took that game because they really stepped up in that way. So I think it's going to take a big effort. Giannis is going to be Giannis, but Drew, I think, is going to be the big X factor, especially if Middleton's out, to take that. And I think he'll step up to the challenge. So that's why I'll be optimistic. That's why I have Bucks in 6. But I do think Chicago will take one more game.
My last take on this series is this is going to be the best series from the East. 100%. First round, this is the best series. Especially with Chris Middleton not being able to play for the next 2 games, it's going to just
potentially,
potentially. It's going to bring a lot more buzz to this series because the 2 teams, in my opinion, as of right now, are very even. So we can just see what happens.
I would have to disagree with that. I think Nets Celtics is going to.
Yeah, I was just going to say that. I think
the last series in the East.
I think that is by far the best. I'm not doubting you. Bucks Bulls is going to be a good series, but I think Nets and Celtics is just going to be a bloodbath. I still have Nets in 7. I mean, Celtics are up 2-0.
I have Celtics in 6.
You have Celtics in 6.
Yeah.
I've got that series going to 7. I think Boston's been playing really good, but if Brooklyn just wins these next 2 games at home, which they definitely can in the Barclays, I think they'll go 7. I think if they can steal a game in Boston, they'll win. But it's if Boston can steal a game in Brooklyn, they'll win, which obviously makes sense. But I think it's if Boston wins one of these next 2 games, they'll win the series for sure. I just think Kyrie and KD haven't been, especially KD hasn't been playing well. Kyrie had a really good game 1. But second half yesterday, they played terrible. I think they went a combined 8 for 30 shooting in the second half.
I think it was even worse than that. Yeah.
KD,
it was terrible.
KD was 4 for 17, 24% from the field. Kyrie was 4 for 13, 31% from the field.
That's crazy. And they were still competing. So, I mean, Celtics kind of pulled away at the end. But I just still have a feeling. I mean, when you have Kevin Durant and Kyrie Irving, you always got a shot, I think. So, but obviously, like I said with the Bucks, Giannis is going to be Giannis. Drew's got to step up. Both those guys really have to step up now to beat a really talented Boston team, which I think is the hottest team in the East right now. I think they were the hottest team going into the playoffs and hottest team in the East right now. I think Jason Tatum's big. Jaylen Brown has really stepped up. Al Horford is going to just still be Al Horford,
Especially with Marcus Smart being Defensive Player of the Year.
And Marcus Smart,
he can lock down Kyrie and KD if he has to.
Absolute lockdown defender. So, I still got Nets in 7 though. I just have faith in KD and Kyrie. I've seen them play for so many years, but if it were to go out for KD and his career would essentially be over, his playoff run, I think this is the series to do it.
Career to be over, really?
I mean, when are they gonna make the push? You think they can make a push next year?
Yeah.
You think so?
Yes, of course.
How old's KD? he's getting to LeBron's age, and you've seen what LeBron's been doing.
Well, the other thing
LeBron can't even make the playoffs.
we mentioned
so-
before the show was Ben Simmons will come back game 4.
Oh, he's 33.
He's only
Okay,
33.
okay.
So-
Yeah, calm down there, Ethan.
No. Still, there's a lot of talent in the East. I think right now, Brooklyn needs a win because there's some guys who might want out. Like,
I think when
this is
Ben
the year they
Simmons
gotta
comes
win.
back, they're definitely going to get a win, and the series will get more competitive.
Okay, Jordan, you have Celtics in 6.
I do have
I
Celtics
have
in
to agree
6.
with Ethan. Still, I picked Nets in 7 beginning of this series. They're kind of worrying me a little bit right here, but I'm still gonna pick Nets in 7. I think they're winning the next 2 games at home, and next 2 games at home for them, and then they're gonna lose the 5th game, and then they're gonna win the final 2 games because they do well under pressure, I'd say. But the Nets are the best, arguably, but in my opinion, the best offensive team in the NBA. They could be able to score from any of their players, really. Kevin Durant is unstoppable sometimes, except in the last 2 games. Kyrie Irving can be unstoppable, like we saw in Game 1. If any of them, or either, like if both of them are unstoppable in a game, they're winning the game. There's no question about it. And the Celtics were the number 1 defensive team this year. So that's why it's such a great matchup, because like offense and defense. And I mean, the Nets could have won Game 1. They didn't, but like it was a close game. And I feel like that could happen with many other of these games in this series. And the last game, obviously both Kyrie and KD struggled, but they were in the game. It was only a 7-point game at the end of the day. So I'm picking Nets in 7. Ben Simmons coming back. I don't know how much of an impact he's actually going to make because he hasn't played this entire season. So he's probably not going to get many minutes. He'll come off the bench. But if he is as good or close to as good as he was last year, or really any of his years defensively, he'll be able to lock down maybe Jason Tatum a little bit better, because the Nets defense is not great. So if they can not, because Jason Tatum's been going off every game. I mean, so is Jaylen Brown actually. So I guess they need 2 defenders, but Jason Tatum, I think is a bigger threat. And if they can lock him up, then I think the Nets are going to have a great chance of winning some games here and winning this series.
Yeah, that's definitely a good point.
I would say, in opposition towards your point, the one thing that I learned growing up playing basketball is that defense wins championships. And the Nets have Marcus Smart, who's Defensive Player of the Year, who can lock down Kyrie. And on paper, the Nets going into the playoffs are arguably the best offense in the playoffs. But as Game 2 showed us, KD and Kyrie, they just did not produce like how we're so used to seeing them play. And if the Celtics can continue to lock them down, I can see them winning 1 game in Brooklyn, going up 3-1 in the series, heading back to Boston, and maybe the Nets take 1 because Ben Simmons will come back, but I just don't see the Nets getting past the Celtics defense.
Okay, in like grade school and high school, and I guess in college as well, and I mean some in the NBA, but defense does win championships, yes. However, I feel like the NBA is at such they score so many points in a game, and they're so offensively efficient that defense really does not matter as much as it does in like younger ages and such. And I mean, obviously it is important because you can just give up like a ton of wide open layups or threes or whatever, and just give up a ton of points every game, and give up, like the Grizzlies, they scored 150 points earlier this year, that's terrible defense for the other team. But I think that the NBA is so offensively efficient and players are so skilled that really it could come down to defense at the end of a game. That I'll give it to you. Like defense at the end of a game, like in the Game 1 with the Celtics defense on Marcus Smart's defense on Kyrie Irving on that like final play for the Nets. Ooh, he was trying to get a shot off because he was on fire that game. Could not do so. They had 2 defenders on him. He had to pass it away to KD, who had to force up a shot at the end of the shot clock, and they missed it. And that was a great defensive possession. But like you can't do that in every single play of the game. So I think that offense in this series will be able to beat the Celtics. So I'm picking Nets in 7.
All I have to say is that the NBA is a lot about scoring now than it was like more physical back in the 80s and the 90s. And now in today's game, it's all about scoring. And I feel like that's the number one like factor to why the Celtics will win this series, is because of their defense. Towards the end of the games, just they have a better defense, which I could say they're going to stop the Nets offense. The Nets offense is amazing on paper, but they just haven't been producing, and I feel like they're not going to be producing to a great extent for the rest of the series.
I will give it to you that if the Celtics do win this series, they will either win the East or lose to the Heat. That is my opinion. But I think the Nets are going to win it.
Yeah, good point. But I would agree with Ryan on that point. Like, defense does win championships, but you look at like the playoffs in the past years. Like, my biggest thing, because I'm a Bucks fan, I look at that Drew Holiday steal last year to that alley-oop to Giannis to seal Game 6 for the Bucks, and that was a huge pivotal game where they had to steal one in Phoenix and they got it done. Then obviously you looked at LeBron's block on
But also,
Iguodala.
like,
That's a big one. Like,
when I was watching that game, like, I thought the Warriors were going to win because they had the offense. They had Curry, Clay, Iguodala, and then LeBron just comes out of nowhere from like. When I was watching that live, LeBron was not in the picture, like, of my TV, and he just comes out of nowhere, gets the block, and that's defense led to offense, and that's why the Cavs were able to beat the Warriors. So I feel like defense from the Celtics will lead to offense for them to beat the Nets in this series.
I think the game just has to be close for that to happen. That's what I think I agree with. Like, if last 2 minutes, if it's like neck and neck, like even or like a one possession difference, I think the Celtics will take a game, which is why I'm kind of speculating. Like, I have Nets in 7, but I think Celtics could very easily win in 7 as well. I just think every game's going to be close. I think it's going to go to 7. That's just, my personal opinion, but I think it's the consensus that we all agree it's going deep in the series. You got 6, Nets in 7, Nets in 7. It's going to be, a good series regardless. So now let's go to the Western Conference. Yeah, 1 versus 8 seed Phoenix Suns, Pelicans. Yeah,
going to the Wild West.
I mean, Booker, what's going on? I think Booker's out for the rest of the series. At least not if he's out like 2 games. I'm not too sure on his status, but it looked like a pretty serious injury.
It says mild hamstring strain, likely to be out games 3 and 4.
Yeah, okay, yeah, so 2 games, like nothing insane. I still got Phoenix winning this, and they'll take one of those games. I think they'll come together. Chris Paul is such a great leader. I will give the Pelicans credit; they will win a game. But
they didn't win a game.
What?
They did win a game.
I know that. I know they'll win another game. I know they won a game.
Yeah.
But they'll win a game with Booker out. But Phoenix will come together, win a game when Booker's out as well. And then when Booker comes back, Phoenix is just gonna unleash everything on New Orleans. I got Suns at 6. The 1 seed should win this, but with Booker out, it's gonna be interesting now. So.
Now, call me crazy, but it's the Wild West.
Crazy.
And I'm a Warriors fan.
Crazy.
And I'll go back to the We Believe Warriors when the 8 seed Warriors defeated the number 1 Dallas Mavericks. But in saying that, the Pelicans will win this series in Game 6. Devin Booker.
6 games.
Devin Booker went down with the hamstring strain. And if he is out games 3 and 4, the games will be played in New Orleans, where I could see the Pelicans going up 3-1 in the series. If they go up 3-1 in the series, and then the Suns win Game 5 back at home, I just see the Pelicans just showing up for their fans, giving the fans what they deserve, and just winning the series back at home in New Orleans in Game 6.
Okay, I'm sorry, but that is incorrect. The Suns, I don't have faith in them long term. But in this specific series, there's no way that the Pelicans are going to win this. I mean, Pelicans, they've got Brandon Ingram, who did pop off in one of the games. I forget which one it was, but I think it was the last game because they won. And then they got CJ McCollum, Jose Alvarado. That's pretty much it. Like, I mean, they do have other players. Zion, he's not. Yeah, he's not doing.
Who do the Suns have besides Chris Paul?
I mean, Devin Booker is
Jay
injured.
Crowder, solid.
When he's
DeAndre Ayton, Mikal Bridges.
But like CJ McCollum and Brandon Ingram.
Too. They went to the finals last year.
Jay Crowder.
I think one thing you guys are forgetting is, like, you guys have a lot of recency bias. I think that's why I got Phoenix going at least Western Conference Finals, if not to the finals again. And, Bucks going to the Eastern Conference Finals too, if not the finals again. Like, I think a lot of these teams are really solid, but do they have the experience to last an entire series, albeit 3 more series to win that NBA championship? Like, I don't know. And granted, like, the Bucks didn't make the finals until last year, but they were in the Eastern Conference Finals like 2-3 years in a row, lost to Toronto. Had a tough series with Boston like the previous year. Like, they've been to the playoffs. I think New Orleans is just so new to the scene that like championship basketball is still in play. Like it's only been 2 games for most of these series. Like it's gonna be a long series. Like 5 games is gonna be a long series. So
Yes, but the Pelicans did already take a game in Phoenix, and the
Yes.
series is tied 1-1.
It's easy.
And
to take a
Devin
game.
Booker
no,
went
no, no,
down.
No, you forget the Suns were up 2-0 against the Bucks. Everyone like it's over. The Bucks go, win 4 straight. I think it's really tough to tell after 2 games, but I'm not going to discredit your I'm not going to discredit your take, man. Like the Pelicans, I can see them winning. It's just I think that Phoenix is just going to pull it out because they already have that chemistry and that experience. Like I said, like New Orleans is new to the scene, but they've got a really talented core. Like they've got, Brandon Ingram solid. I think Jackson Hayes has been doing really well too. So they've got a good team.
There's Zion Williamson, who's hurt currently.
Yeah, Zion's just got to come back.
Yeah.
I don't know what's going on with him, but
yeah.
That's why I will give credit to Phoenix and all these other teams that have been deep in the playoffs. Like Philadelphia too is going to be a tough one. I mean, even Toronto could pull something out. I'm just saying.
I don't think Toronto.
I'm just saying. Well, they're not going to win the series. I'm just saying they could win a game or two, make it interesting.
My 3 main points as to why I say the Pelicans are going to win is because number 1, it's the Wild West. Anything can happen. Number 2,
the East is better than the West.
All right, sure.
East is better than the West.
Number 2, the We Believe Warriors, and number 3,
what are the Warriors?
Devin Booker going down. The Warriors. That team is probably one of my favorite Warriors team in history, only because the number 8 seed beat the number 1 seed, so it's not impossible to happen.
All right, what was your third point? I didn't hear you.
My third point was that Devin Booker will not be able to play.
Okay,
well, maybe not be able to play.
So
games
you
3
have
and 4.
one fair point. The other 2 are
the other 2 are just like
wild.
But I mean, like, yes, Devin Booker's out, and I will credit your theory or whatever you want to call it. Your take. I would love to see the Pelicans beat the Suns. Don't get it wrong. I would love to see that. I don't know why. I'm not a huge Suns fan. Actually, I do know why. It's Devin Booker. I'm not a huge fan of Devin Booker. Love Chris Paul. Devin Booker kind of kills it for me. Don't ask why. I just have weird feelings about him. But the Pelicans are not going to win this series. And Mikal Bridges, Defensive Player of the Year nominee. Cam Johnson is amazing. DeAndre Ayton is a great center. Like, Chris Paul, the amount of players that are on the Suns that are better is just going to win the series for them, and that's all I
think.
say.
I will
I will take back my point from saying who else do the Suns have besides Chris Paul, but I feel like the Pelicans are just gonna rally with each other and take the series.
All right.
It's a fair point, and I'm not going to discredit any takes here. That's the fun about it.
Yeah, I agree. I won't discredit.
I won't say your take's terrible. It's not even a bad take. I'm just saying, respectfully, I disagree, and I think the Suns are winning. But if the Pelicans win, bro, you can shove that in my face. I don't care. I'll be honestly impressed. That'll be one of the great takes. And now going to the 4 and 5 matchup, I believe it's
Mavericks and Jazz.
Yeah, Dallas and Utah. This one's a little boring for me. I don't know. With Luka not playing, it's like, I don't know, but I think Luka's coming back within the next few games.
Yep.
He's going to make the difference.
He said that he will be coming. I mean, I know it's not up to him, but he said he will be coming back in game 3.
Yeah, and they already won a game without him. Like, they split the series. I've got Dallas in 6. Not really much I have to say about the series other than it's probably the least exciting playoff series, I think, in the entire first round. But I still have Dallas winning out, and, they could make a deep run. If your prediction's correct and the Pelicans do indeed win, like that can make the Western Conference Finals very interesting.
I have the Jazz winning in 6.
Jazz winning 6.
My 2 points is Donovan Mitchell, 32 points in game 1, 34 points in game 2. Donovan Mitchell is very, very underrated in my opinion. I don't know if he's top 5. Like players under. How old is he? Like 20.
Donovan Mitchell.
He just does so well in the playoffs too. I remember last year.
Donovan Mitchell is one of the best younger players in the league, in my opinion.
He definitely is.
My other point is that the Jazz have the rebounding.
Gobert is always
with Gobert getting 17 rebounds in game 1 and game 2. So they have he's 25. So I'd say players 25 and younger, Donovan Mitchell is the best one, in my opinion.
Okay.
You have John Morant, who's amazing, but I feel like Donovan Mitchell is very, very underrated, and he should get more credit for what he's been doing.
Okay, I will agree with you. the Jazz have a great team, but the Mavs without Luka have already split the series, and it's like a 4-5 seed, so like anything could happen with that. But I think with Luka coming back, most likely in the next game, and the Mavs already being so good, I'm gonna pick Mavs in 6. Yeah, 6.
Also, the series is going back to Utah for the next 2 games, so I can see the Jazz winning.
They could win
Probably
both of them,
2, yeah, and then going up 3-1 in the series.
Okay. Also, to the under 25 point, Luka is also under 25.
Yeah, I was gonna
Is
say,
he?
yeah.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah, he's
I mean,
22.
he might not be the best player under 25, but he's one of the
top,
best.
like top 3. For
Yeah.
sure, I think.
Trey Young is up there. Jason
Yeah.
Tatum.
I could go all
Luka,
in on
Tatum,
Trey Young.
Donovan Mitchell. No, I like
I
your
would-
Donovan Mitchell.
I would put
Luka,
Donovan in top 3. Yes.
Luka, Tatum, Donovan Mitchell, Trey Young, Ja, kind of fighting for that 4th spot.
I think John Morant's better than Trey Young. Only because of
Ja
like
4, Trey
every
5.
other aspect of the game will go to
Yeah,
John
yeah.
Morant, except for scoring threes for Trey Young.
True.
And, yeah, it's one thing. Like you've seen the Heat shut that down. Like when they shut that down in game 1, Trey had nothing. Like,
Mhm.
They just have to shut down his scoring. But yeah, no, it's good takes. And also, I like the Mavericks though because they have Boban, and whoever has Boban has their luck.
Boban.
Bubba.
Yes.
Yeah, I love Boban. But anyway, now going to the 3 and 6 matchup: Warriors,
Yes, sir.
Nuggets. I mean, I
Warriors are
got
sweeping.
Warriors in 5, man.
Not yet.
I got Warriors in
5.
5. I think Jokic MVP finals for a reason. Like he'll win one game. But I got Warriors in 5. I mean Jordan Poole, a Milwaukee native, so I love Jordan Poole. Making a case for being the 3rd Splash Brother, maybe. I mean it wouldn't be the Splash Brothers. It'd be
He's
the
got
Splash
Poole in
Trio.
his name.
He's got
Splash
Poole.
Bros in the pool.
Oh man.
Yeah, no, he is just insane though. He's been going off these past 2 games. I think game 1 he dropped something insane. Like I think he had like 30 something just went
Yeah.
off. But Warriors up 2-0. I don't see any reason that they'll lose. The Nuggets haven't really been good in the playoffs. Pretty much only Jokic just got to kind of carry that team on his back.
Yes.
So that's why I got Warriors in 5. And I don't see it. They could definitely sweep. I don't see it going more than 5 though.
I'd say Warriors in 5 as well. The Warriors are back to playing Golden State basketball. They have Klay Thompson back, and he looks like he's back better than ever. Draymond Green, Andrew Wiggins, Jordan Poole, Steph Curry. Steph Curry was coming off the bench in games 1 and 2, I believe. So that's just insane how they have Curry as the 6th man for their team in the
Wiseman,
playoffs.
too. That's such a tough team.
James Wiseman. It's just the Warriors are back playing Golden State basketball. Jordan Poole's got 30 points in game 1, 29 points in game 2. Curry 16 in game 1, 34 in game 2. They're back to scoring the ball with efficiency. And I can see the Nuggets winning at least one game only because of Nikola Jokic. I can never say his name right,
Jokic.
but like the Joker.
The Joker,
He-
yes.
He double in the first 2 games. 25 points in game 1 with 10 rebounds, 26 points and 11 rebounds in game 2. So he is carrying the Nuggets right now. I can see him at least winning one game for the Nuggets and the Warriors taking it in 5 games.
So I'm not as hype on the Warriors as you guys are, but I'm gonna take them in 4. Because yes, just like you guys were saying, Nikola Jokic, unbelievable, possibly NBA MVP. I would argue, yes, he should be. But who else has he got around him? That's why he's the MVP, because he doesn't have that much around him, and he is the most valuable player for that team. So, I mean, he's got Aaron Gordon. Okay,
Just
okay.
continue,
Ethan.
continue.
Talking about Giannis over there in your
Yeah,
head.
yeah.
I
No,
think
Finals MVP.
I think Jokic is going to be the MVP. 100%.
I also agree with that, but we'll talk about that.
Let's not get me mad right now, guys.
Yeah, but no, the Warriors have it right now. They got Draymond, they got Jordan Poole, they got Andrew Wiggins, Klay Thompson, Steph Curry. I mean, Jokic can only do so much. Like, he can defend, but like, who's he defending on? He's not defending Steph Curry right now, or ever, or he's not going to defend any of the guards. Like James Wiseman is who's he going to guard probably. So, I mean, the Warriors are they're just too good. They're too powerful offensively. They're still great defensively. So they're winning this series in 4. That's what I'm saying. They're not winning it all. Their run will end.
I might have them coming out of the West.
I have the
man.
Warriors over the Bucks in my championship game.
Interesting.
I think the Warriors are so, like, to Jordan's point, man. I mean, he listed off that lineup, and I just forgot how good they are. I mean, Steph and Clay like already been to the finals so many times. Like they know what it is.
And Draymond with the
Draymond's
defensive presence.
Draymond's still on there. That is the
Wiggins.
same team that's won the finals over and over again, just without KD. Like you think about it, like
That is true.
and now they've got Jordan Poole going off. They have Wiggins playing amazing. Wiseman's a young star. I mean, it's gonna be so tough for any like next. Okay, like next potential series is gonna be Grizzlies Timberwolves. Who
Mhm.
are they actually gonna beat the Warriors? Like no way. I don't see what is Ja gonna do? What is Ja gonna do against the Splash?
But it's
Field?
not even about Ja. Like
Yes, it is. He's the best player.
Yes, he is. Sure, you can argue that. But like, if you look at the games where he wasn't playing, they have a better record. With him
that's a
not
good point.
playing.
That's a good point. They do have the chemistry. Yeah, that's a good
They
point.
do
But
have great chemistry. They got Steven Adams. I mean,
oh yeah,
Steven Adams isn't losing.
But I mean, man, that Warriors team looks on paper looks so tough.
It does look really good on paper, but I mean, so did the Nets.
Can they go
But the Warriors are actually doing it though
Yeah.
in the game.
That
I'll give
we'll
it to
see
you
what
like
they
the
do on the
Nets.
road. Granted, like for Brooklyn, they were on the road those first two games. It's always
They
tough.
were.
If the Warriors, like, I just don't see the Warriors losing.
It's just insane that Jordan Poole has put up the numbers he's put up for the first two games.
Yeah, it is very impressive.
If he doesn't do that, then I've got Warriors in 6. Like if Jordan Poole's not emerging, I
Yeah,
got
I
Warriors in
agree.
6 because I have a little. But if Jordan Poole continues to play at this level, like, jeez, man, the Warriors are so tough.
True.
So tough. And now, so I've got Warriors in 5. Ryan, you got them sweeping?
I got him sweeping.
Jordan, you got
I
'em
have the
5?
Warriors in 5.
All right.
Okay.
Only
that's fine.
because of
It's fine.
Jokic.
I'm not as high on the Warriors as you guys are, and I'm still picking them over.
You're just picking them to sweep. I love it.
Yeah.
I love it. Now, as I kind of highlighted, the 2-7 matchup, the last first round matchup we're going to talk about today, is Grizzlies and T-Wolves. Now, Timberwolves, hey, what a story! Finally made the playoffs after being miserable and terrible for so many years. They did take game 1, which was a big surprise, I think, to a lot of people. Anthony Edwards had a good game, but I've got the Grizzlies in. I got the Grizzlies winning the rest of these games. I think the Timberwolves hype's a little too high. I love Cat. I love Anthony Edwards, but again, it's like it's all for them this year. I think it was all about getting that playoff experience, which is why for Timberwolves fans, they should be excited to even be here because it's good to get like. For their sake, I think they want like a good playoff series just so their guys get used to that playoff atmosphere basketball. Because like I said, like I think playoff experience matters a lot, especially as you get later in the playoffs. But I've got Grizzlies in 5. I think Memphis is just gonna go off like Ryan just said. They're actually better without Ja on the floor than with Ja.
Record, yeah.
Yeah, it's insane. And then with Ja, obviously, one of the
In fact,
best
that game
emerging
where they scored
stars.
150 points, Ja was not playing.
That's crazy.
Dang.
Then Ja just went on a vengeance last game and just went off.
Yes.
But yeah, I've got Grizzlies in 5. I don't see them losing the series at all. If the Timberwolves win, I don't know. I'll jump in like a frozen lake, dude. I don't know. If the Timberwolves win, that'll be the biggest shock. That would be an even bigger shock than Pelicans beating the Suns, I think, for me. But I've got Grizzlies in 5, respectfully.
I have the Grizzlies in Game 7 winning it.
Okay.
I think
Okay.
this will be the best series coming from the West. I love how the star players on both teams are really, really young. Ja Morant, he's most improved player.
Well, maybe.
But most improved
yeah.
candidate.
Yeah, we'll see.
And Anthony Edwards, only 20 years old, which is insane to me. And how well he's playing, also with Karl Anthony Towns. I think this is going to be the best series. You got to give respect to the Grizzlies head coach, Taylor Jenkins. He took them from the 12th seed in 2018-2019 all the way to the 2nd seed in 2021-2022.
I think he's coach of the year candidate too, right?
Mhm.
Him, Monty, and
I say, in my opinion, he's coach of the year. So you got a great coach from the Grizzlies, great young stars, and Ja Morant, Karl Anthony Towns, Anthony Edwards. I just see this series being the best one, going all the way to Game 7, and the Grizzlies taking it in Game 7.
I'm going to go in the middle a little bit, and I'm going to go Game 6 with the Grizzlies, though. And yes, the Timberwolves do have more name players, I would say. Like, they have Karl Anthony Towns and Anthony Edwards. And, I mean, they got Pat Beverly, too, who is...
Boo.
Fair enough. But he's still a very good defender in his older age. But he's older, right? Yeah. Yeah. So, yes, they have those great name players, but the Grizzlies are just meshing so well right now. And the only reason I'm picking them and I'm thinking they're going to make a deep run is because of they're not like relying too heavily on one player, on Ja Morant, their best player, because like I said, they have a better record a better average record without him than with him playing, which is very impressive for their best player being out, arguably their best player, but I would say their best player, pretty across the board is what people agree on. So I think that's going to make them go deep into this playoffs, win it in 6. I'll give the Timberwolves one more game, but I don't think anything after that.
Ja Morant did have a stat line in one game where he scored 23 points, 10 assists, and 9 rebounds, almost getting a triple-double.
Mm-hmm.
So I would say he definitely brings a lot for the Grizzlies when he is on the court.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that stat that the Grizzlies are better without Ja is like just it's not that it's wrong, obviously it's right, but I think it's like a little exaggerated. Like I think like how are they going to actually be better without Ja on the floor? Like especially playoff time. Like I think
yes, but it means that they can step up.
Exactly.
Other
it means
players
they got
know
depth.
how to
That's
step
why
up.
that's why I got the Grizzlies winning it. But now let's talk finals predictions, guys. The West, I feel like it's kind of easy. The West, I feel like it's going to be Suns, Warriors, Western Conference Finals, and I mean, if the Warriors can keep this hot streak, I got the Warriors, but based on my gut, I'm just gonna go Suns. Like I think if Booker comes back better than ever, like I don't like the Suns that much. Like I was saying, like Booker after watching him against the Bucks last year in the finals, I don't like his character that much.
Yeah.
But I still think the Suns got like one of the best coaches in the NBA. Chris Paul's a great leader. Booker, Ayton, like they've got a really good team. But I've got that as my like clear Western Conference Finals. And now the East, I have no idea. If it goes as we're predicting and it's Miami, Philly, Milwaukee, and either Boston or Brooklyn, I have no idea who's making it out of those games. Like Philly could win, the Heat could easily win, the Bucks could win, the Celtics could win, Nets could win. Like I have no clue. Like that, the Eastern Conference, I think this year is just so tough.
Yeah, the crazy thing about the Eastern Conference is that the top 4 seeds are all decided by one game. Like that's insane. That's why I love the Eastern Conference so much this year, except for the Knicks not being there, unfortunately. But like, yeah, but the Western Conference is not as interesting as that. You have like the runaway teams on the top, and then the bottom teams on the bottom, and that's pretty much it. But like in the Eastern Conference, you have a good mix all the way down. Like you have like the Nets are the 7th seed, and we're thinking that, well, 2 of us are thinking that they're going to beat the Celtics, the 2 seed, who had an amazing season and a great run in the second half of the season, but they're the 7th seed. Like they could run away with this series. So and like Jordan was saying with the 8th seed in the West, I mean, I guess that I'll give you that one. That is a good one, but I don't think it's a good one. It's a good prediction, but
if the Pelicans do win, then I have no idea who's going to come out of the West. But I do. No, the Warriors will come out of the West.
If the Pelicans win, I think the Warriors are just uncontested.
Yeah.
Coming out of the West.
But I would say the Eastern Conference is way much better than the Western Conference. It used to always be the Western Conference in past recent years. Now it's been the Eastern Conference that's been better.
Finally, yeah.
I'd say coming from the West, it's going to be the Warriors over the Jazz. And the Heat, in the East, it's going to be the Bucks over the Heat.
Okay,
that's
fair. I am going to ride on the Grizzlies right now, and I'm going to pick in the West, Grizzlies over Suns.
Oh, okay.
Grizzlies over Suns coming out of the West, and in the East, Heat over Nets. I think the Nets are gonna get a 7. We're gonna win this 7-game series. They're gonna win the next 7-game series in 7, and then they're gonna be like tired out. They're not gonna be able to beat the Heat, the younger Heat team and more athletic Heat team. So I think overall I will pick the Heat over the Memphis Grizzlies.
You win the finals, finally getting it done.
Sorry, Ethan, but I would say the Warriors over the Bucks.
Warriors over the Bucks. You know what? That's fair. I don't even know if the Bucks make the finals this year, I'll be like actually happy. I'll be so happy they even made it there, because the East is just so tough. Like, man, I don't know. I probably have the winner of Boston and Brooklyn winning it all.
That is fair.
I think if Boston wins, like I'll have Boston versus Phoenix. If Brooklyn wins, I'll have the Nets versus Phoenix. Just to prevent another finals rematch. I'm not going to say the Bucks, but like obviously I want the Bucks to win. But being realistic, it's like, can they do it? Like obviously they can do it. They've got Giannis, the MVP, but
MVP. Okay,
candidate. Okay, finalist. Fine, guys. But like, I just think, I think the Heat are going to tire out. Like I think Jimmy Butler being your number 1 star is not, the greatest thing because he's solid. He's just not like he did drop 41. Like he had a really good game, or 45 or whatever it was. Like he had a really good game, but like
as of right now, the Warriors with that starting lineup, I think no one can beat them.
Oh yeah. If the Warriors continue to go, if Jordan Poole keeps going up, I've got no doubt the Warriors are winning it all. But like, it's just so it's just so tough for me to make a solid prediction right now. I've got
there's so many good teams and so many good matchups.
It's so tough. I've got either Warriors or Suns, and then any of the teams that make it out of this first round in the East honestly have a great shot. Like,
yeah, I agree.
Like literally, yeah. Like,
I think I'm picking the East no matter what this year.
Yeah, I think whoever comes out of the East is gonna win. Like they've got like the only reason they wouldn't win is because like the Warriors or the Suns coming out of the West didn't really have like a tough, like the only tough matchup they'd really like the really tough matchup they'd have is Western Conference Finals.
Yeah.
Like I'm not trying to discredit the Grizzlies or anything, but like Memphis versus Golden State, I just think Golden State has too many like marquee weapons. Like who's stopping Steph, Clay, Jordan Poole? Like Ja can only guard, one person at a time. He'll probably lock up Steph.
Yes.
Like who's stopping the sharpshooting Clay, bro?
I mean, Ja isn't even like the best defender in the league either.
Exactly.
But like I think the entire Grizzlies team is young, athletic, and okay, I'm gonna compare them to the Heat a couple years ago, because the Heat were super young and athletic, and the most athletic, arguably, I would say, in the league by far. And they lost to Lakers, I think. Yeah, that's right. Lakers in the finals. But they made it all the way. They made it to that run, and then it was a terrible playoffs because they couldn't keep it up. So that's why I think the Grizzlies are going to make that run, but they're not going to be able to stop an East team because the East is just too powerful this year. And the Nets Celtics series, whoever wins that series will lose to the Heat in the Eastern Conference Finals, because I think, well, if the Nets do it, I think the Nets will just be too tired, and the Heat's defense will be and offense efficiency will be too good. But if the Celtics come out of it, I think the Heat is just a better Celtics team. Honestly, that's how I feel. They're better offensively. I mean, with the addition of like Kyle Lowry in the offseason this year, I mean, he's an amazing point guard, and they got Jimmy Butler. And Bam, I think, is going to be the X factor in that series if it is Heat versus Celtics, because who on the Celtics is going to be able to stop Bam?
Al Horford's a really good fight. He stopped Giannis. Like Al Horford is.
I will give you that. Yes,
that's what I'm afraid of. The Celtics for the Bucks is Al Horford's really solid.
The Celtics have the best defense in the league, in my opinion.
Yeah, Celtics do have the best. Yeah.
Go into that later. Yeah. But yeah. Anyway, I think the only reason the Warriors or the Suns have a shot is because the East would be just too tired beating each other up. That when they get to the finals, they'll just be exhausted.
Okay, that's fair. I'll give you
that.
But
yes, the Eastern Conference this year, I think no doubt it's just better.
Eastern is better than Western. It's going to be a great playoffs the rest of the
postseason. So you guys want to briefly talk about NBA awards, honors?
Let's do it.
Whatever you call it. All right. Let's. You want to start with MVP?
Sure.
Because you guys are starting with it.
Yeah.
I know why you're saying Jokic. Like, I'm trying to take my Bucks bias out of it. Giannis, he just doesn't have a bad game. Like, I don't think he had a single game this year where he dropped under 10 points, or I think even under 15 points a game. Like, he's just been so elite for so long. And that's what I'm saying about, like, the Celtics series. Like, I think if you take away Giannis, you take away the entire Bucks team. Like, I think the Bucks are a struggling playoff team without Giannis. Like, Drew and Middleton are solid, but they can't carry a team.
Okay.
Like, it's just tough because Jokic, I know he's the only one on Denver, but Denver's not winning anything. Like, that's the thing.
Well,
like, Denver's not going to win
anything. Listen to what you just said. Jokic is the only one on Denver. The award
is
the
6th seed, dude.
The award isn't
6th seed
the award,
in the worst conference.
The MVP award is not the best player of the MVP candidates. It's the most valuable player. I think Jokic is more valuable to the Nuggets than Giannis is.
I would even take it a next step further and say Giannis is overrated.
I also would say that, but
Giannis is overrated. Giannis,
he's great.
Giannis is Giannis is overrated.
He is in the MVP conversation every year.
Nikola Jokic is the only reason why the Nuggets are in the 6th seed, and the only reason why they maybe win 2 games against the Warriors. It's all because of Jokic. Jokic, he has in 33 minutes. This is his stats for the whole season: 33 minutes, 13 rebounds, 7.9 assists, 1.5 steals, 27.1 points, double with
almost a triple double.
Yeah, almost a triple double.
Remember when Westbrook averaged a triple double? They did nothing.
He improves the Nuggets though. Russell Westbrook did not improve the Thunder.
Even he dropped his triple double he averaged a triple double.
Yeah,
He
but
beat
you can see where the
Oscar's
Lakers
record.
are right
Okay,
now, and
and he was
the Lakers aren't even in the playoffs.
It's like a stat thing, I feel like.
See, I'm a big fan of Russell Westbrook because of that season.
Giannis,
Yeah, that's a good season.
Giannis is all about driving in and just just paint presence. He can't
He
shoot.
really developed his. If you actually watch game, dude, he developed his game this year so much.
Nikola Jokic is
check
so
his
much better.
free throw difference this year and check his 3-point shooting difference.
Okay.
Percentages.
A free throw and 3-point versus
That's huge.
like yes,
the,
it is.
the argument is he only drives in.
Yes, but the most valuable
he
player
expanded his game. That's what I'm saying. He can do everything. Is Jokic as good on the defensive end as Giannis? No way.
Yes.
No
Yeah,
shot.
absolutely.
No
100%.
shot.
Okay.
No shot.
0.9 blocks, 1.5 steals.
Giannis was snubbed out of Defensive Player of the Year finalist this year, and he was that the last 3 years.
Okay.
You're telling me Jokic is actually a better defender than Giannis?
I would say that they're
There's
not.
no way.
I don't
There's
think
no way.
either of them are better than the others. All three of the MVP candidates.
Yeah, they're all good.
had-
I
were-
can see it going other way.
We're like around 1 to 1.5 steals and blocks per game. Like they're very even in that category. And I mean, those are the only really. I mean, they got rebounds, but that's offensive and defensive. So I mean, defensively, you can't really take away from either of the players. So then you're only looking offensively and what they contribute.
Nikola
to their own
Jokic
teams.
contributes so much more on the offensive side than Giannis does. He's got passing. He's got just better shooting than Giannis, in my opinion.
Okay, I will give you the fact that Giannis does average more points per game, but
On a better team.
No, not on
Uh,
a better
wait,
team.
Are you
No.
kidding me?
Wait.
The Nuggets?
Oh wait, you're
yeah.
you're
I'm
saying Giannis
it's
on
more
the Bucks.
impressive that Giannis is dropping. Like that's what I'm gonna say for Tyler Hero.
The
Like,
Bucks
Tyler
are better
Hero's-
than the Nuggets.
obviously.
Okay.
But like that's what I'm saying. Like Tyler Hero is gonna be 6. Like we'll talk about it later. But Tyler Hero's my 6 man because he's averaging 20 on the best team in the East.
Yeah, 100%.
record-wise. But yeah, I could see it going in. You know, guys, I know. I just gotta defend my boy. You know, I thought he should have. He was in the conversation last year, but I did want Jokic last year. But I think like after watching Giannis this year, he's improved his game so much. The defenses can't stop him. They know what he's gonna do, and he still does it. Like that is what's shocking to me. You know what I mean?
Giannis is really, really good, and he's gonna always be really
he'll always
good.
be MVP.
But
finalist, I
like
feel
Ryan said,
Like
the
the new
most
LeBron.
valuable player to a team is Nikola Jokic. 100%. That's the only reason why the
Okay,
Nuggets are this
well,
good.
I think my thing is like it depends on what you're putting as valuable. Are you talking about valuable like barely making the playoffs? Like
Okay,
because then
here's-
it would be Jokic. Are you talking about wanting to win a championship? And like the difference between
Do
a
you-
playoff team and a championship
you
team,
think-
that it's definitely Giannis.
Do you think the Bucks are better than the Nuggets? Bucks better
Yes.
than Nuggets.
Absolutely.
So it's more like
I think-
important or more valuable for Jokic to be on the Nuggets than Giannis is to
That's
be on the
you
Bucks.
know that is a good point. But like to your point, like that's why the award's so tricky. You know, because the Nuggets go from a team. I think we can all agree with this. The Nuggets go from a team not making the playoffs without Jokic to being the 6th seed in the Western Conference with him. But like with the Bucks, like they'd be like 8-7 seed.
The
with
Bucks will still
Drew
make
and-
the playoffs.
They'd still make the playoffs, but they wouldn't win the championship without it. That's what I'm trying to say. Like, is that where are you placing value on making the playoffs or winning a championship? And I think most franchises would say winning a championship is way better than making the playoffs. That's all I'm saying.
I'd say the player that just improves the team the most. Like Giannis
think
definitely
it's
improves the
so-
Bucks from like going from like a playoff team to a championship team. But this
Yeah.
season alone, Jokic is the only reason why the Nuggets are
in the playoffs.
In the
Yeah, I
playoffs.
know what you're saying. See, that's why I'm like kind of twisted on it.
Mhm.
I think it's a lot closer than most people think. I think most people have Jokic though, which really makes me mad. But it's fine. It's fine.
going back to what you said with the 6th man. Tyler Hero definitely deserves to be the 6th man.
I think.
5 rebounds, 4 assists, 20 points coming off the bench for the Heat.
That's
Yeah.
in
That's
the East, there,
insane.
There's no way. I don't think. If
I
he
don't think
loses-
anyone's disputing really
it's
that
not.
Tyler Hero is not going to be 6th man.
Yeah, no way.
Yeah.
For rookie of the year, I have Evan Mobley.
Mobley. I got Scotty. I thought Scotty
Yeah,
Barnes
Scotty
was so
Barnes
good this
as
year.
well.
Are
Because
you gonna make this interesting? Take Cade or you got Scotty?
no, I got Scotty.
You
Barnes.
got Scotty. Okay,
Yeah.
okay.
Yeah, I got Scotty. Just because the stats alone. I mean, he's averaging 15.3 points per game, 7.5 rebounds per game, 3.5 assists per game. And then Evan Mobley is around the same stat line, but not quite as good. But like Scotty Barnes on the Raptors became like one of the big 3 with Van Vliet and Siakam. And I mean, the Raptors made the playoffs as a 5 seed.
Yeah,
and
the 5
you
seed's
can't say
solid.
that about
Exactly.
the Cavs and the Pistons.
I
So
think. Yeah.
I think it would be fair if Scotty Barnes wins it, like
Okay.
100%. But I
Evan
would
could.
say Evan Mobley, just on the Cavaliers as a team, is more important than like Scotty Barnes to the Raptors was. Because Evan Mobley, like his stats, 8 rebounds to 7 rebounds for Scotty Barnes, 2 assists to 3 assists
Mhm.
for Scotty Barnes, 15 points to 15 points and then 1.7 blocks and 0.8 steals. So he's good on both sides of the ball. I would say he deserves it only because he's more important to the Cavs than Scotty Barnes is to the Raptors. But Scotty Barnes is one of like the top 3, so I wouldn't be mad if Scotty Barnes wins it.
I can see it going either way.
Yeah.
Yeah. Now let's go. Most improved. Just briefly, let's go most improved player. Because defensive player already Marcus Smart. I've got my own opinion. I think Gobert.
We'll talk about that next
Yeah.
week because
most improved player. I think Garland should get it. I really do think Darius Garland. I think Ja was already a bona fide superstar and he just got better. But I think Garland kind of came out of nowhere. And now the Cavs are a solid team.
I think we got 3 different opinions here.
I would say with Ja Morant. Because like what you said with Giannis, he improved. Ja Morant improved. I would say he's the number 1 reason why the Grizzlies are 2nd seed in the league right now. Ja Morant, already a superstar, one of the best, if not the best, young talent in the league, arguably. Ja Morant is just going to be a great sight to watch for his rest of his career.
So I would say that Ja is the best of the most improved players, but he's not the most improved because he already started blossoming last year in the playoffs. Last year in general, but last year in the playoffs versus Utah, he started doing really well against them. I would give it to DeJounte Murray because, I mean, just if you look at here, let me read some stats here. So for Ja, he went from 19.1 points per game to 27.4 points per game. Great jump. I will give you that. That's like 8 points right there. DeJounte Murray, he increased from 15 to 21.1. So that's only 6 points. Not quite as good. But also, he went from 7.1 rebounds per game to 8.3, which is an increase of like about 1. And then assists went 5.4 to 9.2. So it's like 5. So he's almost averaging a triple-double.
What about the rebounds for Ja Morant?
Rebounds for Ja Morant.
If you had them.
I don't. I will have to look him up, but we're running out of time, so we'll have to go back to this.
I respectfully think Garland just came out of nowhere. I mean, like Ja was a superstar, DeJounte Murray, we're the Spurs, bro. Like and triple double, but where are the Spurs? I mean, he made them consider to be good, like out of a bad team. But yeah, I see it. I just don't want Ja winning it, man. Like he was already a superstar. I like the most improved being like those underground guys, like Garland or DeJounte. That's why.
Yeah,
I think that, but that's pretty much all our time today, guys.
The last one for NBA Coach of the Year, though, Taylor Jenkins took the Grizzlies from a no team name to like a big team name. They went in 2017, 2018, they were 14 seed. 2018, 2019, he took over, and they went from the 14th to the 12th seed. Then the following year, 12 to the 9th, 9 to 8, and then 8 to 2nd. He really took the Grizzlies from being last to first. So I would say he's
for Coach of the Year, since we have a little extra time right here, like just a little bit. But based on the candidates, I would pick Monty Williams from the Suns just because of the record. But if we could choose anyone, I would choose. I don't know. I'm sorry, I'm gonna butcher the name, but Ime Udoka from the Celtics. Because I mean, if you just look at the second half of the year turnaround from the Celtics, I mean, they were under 500. They were 20-21 at the halfway point. And they went 31-10 in the second half. So the adjustments made by that coach with the Celtics really improved their team so much, and I that's why I would give it to him.
The Celtics and the Suns are the Celtics and the other
Grizzlies.
Yeah,
Celtics and the Grizzlies and the Suns. Yeah, Celtics, Grizzlies, Suns. The Celtics and the Suns are a much better team than the Grizzlies. That's why I would put NBA Coach of the Year for Taylor Jenkins with the Grizzlies because the team itself isn't better than the Suns and the Celtics.
I'll say out of the candidates, Monty, because Monty's just a monster. I mean, Phoenix just by far looked like the best team in the league for the entire regular season. But yeah, we went a little over time, but I think it was definitely worth a good conversation, guys. As always, thanks everyone for tuning in to Sports Chat. Great conversation as always. And for Jordan, Ryan, this is Ethan.
See you later.
And we'll see you guys later. Thanks for tuning in.